How's everybody doing? You didn't think we're going to forget to do the Bible code, but we're no longer doing the Bible code. We're doing now the Book of Enoch, because the Book of Enoch, it was the original Bible. Okay, and a lot of the books in our Western Bible can be found word for word, including the Gospels, in the Book of Enoch. And I can understand why the early church decided to change the book and water it down and create the present day Bible that we have today, the King James Version. Of course, it didn't start out as a King James Version. The Bible itself has gone through a series of evolutions, right? But let us understand that it comes from the Book of Enoch. Now, this is my place, by the way. Yeah, this is my place. That's the living room. It's closet there, it's pretty tall. That's the dining room area, bedroom area, bathroom, and of course, and then up here, a little foyer, my walk-in closet space, my little dressing room, bedroom, and of course another place here to put my clothes. Pretty cute kitchen area. And of course, I have the front yard. All this here is mine to use. From over here, all the way over here. It's mine. So I could put furniture, plants, things like that. And of course, if you walk further down, you have here the pool area. The palm trees are dead at the moment because we are experiencing winter. They'll bloom by April, okay? These are different palm trees than tropical palm trees. And of course, here we got the pool, swimming pool, jacuzzi, weightlifting area, gym, volleyball court over there, things like that. I'm not going to tell you how much it is per month, but it is a very high-end area, very good area of Houston. So I'm situated. I sleep on the floor with my clothes, and I use the suitcase as a chair until I'm able to, get monies, gather monies, hopefully to donations and what have you, and get myself together here and get situated. So I can continue giving you the download. Now, this download that I got is really scary. By the way, I'm also going to share with you my secret as to how I lose weight and keep it off. Okay? All right. A lot of it I've changed my diet. I eat berries with honey and a little sweet and low, mango, and wine. If you eat fruit with wine, it speeds up the rate of metabolism and it actually helps you lose weight. But there's another secret that I use and I will share with you. And this is going to really fuck up the diet Weight Watchers industry because a lot of it has to do with visualization. In addition to diet. Okay. But the key to losing weight and keeping it off, believe it or not, is eating fruits. Put honey on it. Okay? Eat it in the morning. The best way to absorb fruit is to eat it in the morning. If you eat fruits in the morning, you eat a nice salad with fish or meat, either cooked, broiled, or red meat, It should be once or twice a week, the red meat. And of course, poultry 4 times, 3 times a week, and maybe fish could be every day. I also eat lots of nuts and beans, different types of beans. All these things are helpful to eat during the middle of the day or early evening. At night, you should have a soup or a light supper with root vegetables instead of the light vegetables like potatoes and celeries and things like that, tomatoes and broccoli. You have root vegetables at night like potatoes, yam, and plantains and things like that. And no rice. You could have noodles, and trust me, and you eat certain portions. You eat, portions. Instead of 3, you eat 4 portions a day. Now, this will have you lose weight and keep it off. But I'm gonna share another secret later on to go in tandem with this diet plan. Okay? It's kind of similar to Jenny Craig. Jenny Craig, I think, was the only dietary program, because there were so many of them, that actually came close to actually mastering the rate of metabolism in the human body. They actually have the right concept, but it's a lifestyle, and you have to adapt to it, and you have to make the body adapt to it, and that takes time. And you have to be consistent with it. But I'm kind of like stalling because the download that I got was so. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm a little scared to talk about it. I really am, because the Big Bang, as scientists have said it, is completely wrong. Completely wrong. And I'm like, what? What? Listen, I'm a big scientific fan. I love the scientific explanation of the Big Bang, to the mathematics and everything, and it works. And they goes, yes, but the 7th day of creation was not the end result of our solar system and all of the cosmos. It was only the end result of our solar system. Okay, there were other solar systems way before the calculation of the 7th day God rested, and then the cosmos was created. No, the creation of the cosmos on the 7th day of creation was not the end result of the cosmos, but the end result of our particular solar system. Which means, I'm going to talk it, and then I'm going to make an illustration about it. And then with that, we're going to talk about an inequality. Because I was going to talk about something else concerning the Big Bang, and Spirit told me, no, talk about this. When I showed you guys, or when you guys go into a dictionary, let's say you go to online and you Google the Milky Way galaxy, right? Which is our Milky Way galaxy. We're in the Milky Way galaxy. And there are billions and billions, if not trillions of stars, right? And we are, it's a spiral universe. It has spirals. We are at the tail end of the spiral arm, right? We're like right at the end of the spiral universe. Remember, there are other stars near to us, and there are billions, if not trillions of them. According to scientists, all of them came together and was formed at the end of the 7th day, really the 6th day, because God rested on the 7th, right? So, according to scientists, on the 7th, and then I'm going to talk about it mathematically, okay? But let's go allegorically with the Bible, what the Bible says, because then the book of Enoch says something completely different. But it's extremely complex. And I can see why the theologians and scribes and Pharisees of the early church simplified it. Because these people don't know how to read and write, let alone count. So let's just do this and say that, and it happened like this. But no, the cosmos was being created at the same time as the Big Bang was emerging. For example, 7 days of creation. God rested on the 7th day. Okay, let's break it down. A day is an acronym. It stands for years. In the Hebrew, a day is equal to an equivalent number of years. Okay? So, material scientists, planetary scientists, say that the Earth was created is 3.5 billion years old. It's actually far much older than that. Okay? And they cannot prove it because they don't have carbon. We only have carbon C12, carbon C14, and their isotopes to measure time. We don't have anything beyond carbon C14 or carbon C12 or any other type of measurement that can measure time that far back. So the only thing we can do is conjecture. We can guess at what it could be, but we don't have an exact figure. According to the book of Enoch, there is an exact figure, okay? And I was given the exact figure, and I'm like, what? I'm like, ooh. It's because you see, it kind of makes sense in a way because time is relative. Time is relative. You can break up time in any kind of way and still give the same results. So which way or pathway is it? It could be any. So this is why it's a difficult thing to prove. And we don't have all the tools to measure time that far back to verify it. But I will tell you this: one day is equal to 1 trillion years. So according to material scientists, the cosmos was created in 7 trillion years, with the Earth being made at 3.5 billion years. They're saying that there was no life, there was nothing during the course of the Big Bang, that all came to life at the tail end of it. And the reality is that there is no end to creation. Creation is still going on. Creation is still expanding. The universe is still expanding. The Big Bang that occurred 7 trillion years ago is still running. It's like a trajectory timeline. It's still running. And during this running, their universe is being created. So that means that on the first day of creation, there were life forms already created. On the second day, there was already more. Third, fourth, fifth, sixth. On the seventh, we were created. We were next. It wasn't that it took 7 trillion years and then the Earth was created in the solar system. No, we were the tail end of that, of a particular sequence of creation. But the Big Bang is still going. And we know that because I talked to you about periods, epochs, eras, right? So we are right now in the Earth period. The next period is the Vulcan period. If the Big Bang already stopped, there should be no next world, right? There should be no Vulcan period because this is it. It stopped. That's a great illusion. It did not stop. The Big Bang is still going, which is why the universe is still expanding, which is why there's still radiation in deep space all around us, because it's still going, okay? And it's creating other worlds unbeknownst to us. And the next world that we're going to reincarnate to has already been created and is waiting for us to reincarnate it. So the Vulcan period, which is probably in the hundreds of millions of years from now, it's already here. It's already been created. Then after the Vulcan period, we have the Jupiter period. The movie Avatar 1 and 2 explains those realities to come. But we think that they are to come. No, they are already created, waiting for us to reincarnate and experience them. So the Big Bang has not stopped. There is no rest. The only rest that the Bible is making reference to is that our solar system was created and it came to a rest. But the energy of the Big Bang is still going on to creating other solar systems and other worlds. So it's an illusion to believe that at the seventh day of creation, we were created. No, we were the ones created next. Other worlds were created way before us and right after us, and it's still happening, okay? There is an inequality here. Of all the stars and billions and trillions of stars, there is a mathematical equation that details where we fit in the cosmos, okay? For example, and this can be translated into the physical reality of our planet, our solar system, and human beings, including our behavior. Okay, it's deep. For example, if it took 7 trillion years to create for us to be, and I remember in those 7 trillion years, other worlds were being created. It wasn't that we were the ones as an end result of those 7 trillion years. No, there were other worlds being created. Maybe less advanced or more advanced. Then we came along as the 7th, okay? And if the Earth is 3.5 billion years ago, we're going to go with that number, right? Then that means that there's an inequality of tremendous space of time in the trillions of years. And we are at the tail end of that creation, of that explosion of the Big Bang. It makes sense because if we are in the tail end of the spiral universe, then that makes sense that we are at the tail end of creation during that trajectory of the Big Bang. That means that the other stars in our Milky Way galaxy came before we did, millions or trillions of years before. So it's not that the Big Bang, as an end result, we were created. and all of the cosmos. No, all of the cosmos was being created simultaneously and then we became next in line. Okay, and the number that I got is like 3.5 to 7. So we're looking at a point. If we change the math to a decimal, 0.75, that's 75%. It took 75% of creation to be made before we were created. This mathematical equation does make sense. It does fit. Because, for example, consider the Earth is 3 rocks away from the sun. Okay? We, as a solar system, are 3 spiral arms away from the central mass in the Milky Way. And we are 3 away from the sun. Interesting, that number 3. And yet, scientists say that the Earth is 3.5 billion years old. So they had stumbled into some mathematical constants that they're not even realizing. Okay? 0.75 is the decimal point and suggests where we are in the trajectory of creation of all life forms on the cosmos. We are 75% into creation, okay? Which means that 75% of the Big Bang that went on before we were created was already teeming with life, okay? We can prove this by just looking at, for example, when a woman gives birth, she gotta give birth for at least 24 hours, 48 hours to give birth. That's a long trajectory of pain for an end result that can last a few seconds of creation when you're born. It's not about whether the baby lives to be longer than what it took for the labor for the person to give. No, that's not it. It is the fact that it took that energy to create this type of result. Okay? And that's a woman giving birth. The same thing with anything in nature giving birth. There's an inequality of more pain and then the end result, which is the pleasure of the birthing process. Okay? If the Earth in its Goldilocks zone moves 1 degree into the sun, we're going to experience a volcanic fire. If we move 1 degree away from the sun, we're going to experience a polar freeze. This is letting you know how delicate the fabric of life is, and that this same quotient can be seen even in how we live our lives. For example, when you observe Kwanzaa, right, or one of the holidays of the African American, they have a libation. All religions do, right? But the thing that struck me very, very fascinating is that in Kwanzaa, you have, for example, 4 libations. You take the sourness, you take lemon for the sourness of life. You take pepper for the bitterness of life. You take salt for the saltiness of life. And then you take honey for the good and sweetness of life. That's 100%. 75% is pain and 25% is pleasure. With a woman giving birth, 75% of labor is pain, and then the small amount is pleasure when she gives birth. With the cosmos, we are 75% into creation, but a lot of creations of other worlds was created way before us. We just ended up being the 7th. So we are in the 7th position. So the number that I was given in my dream was 0.75. This is the decimal. And this lets us know where we are at in the cosmos. Of the billions and billions and trillions of stars, what number are we? When were we created? According to the download and this type of explanation mathematically, we were created 75% into the Big Bang of creation. And it wasn't that there was 1,000 or 1 trillion years. You know, 1 trillion years, there was already teeming of life in the cosmos. The cosmos just kept expanding. 2 trillion years, 3 trillion years, 4 trillion years, 5 trillion years, 6 trillion years. We came next in creation as the 7th. which is why we are the seventh. Which is why the number 7 is important, and it resonates with everything in life and in science and in mathematics pertaining to life. Even the deity vibrates to the number 7. This is the position that we are in according to the rest of life in the cosmos. That was deep. So, yes, the reality is that the Big Bang is not it wasn't the 7 days. If we go with the simple mathematical or allegorical biblical explanation of days instead of years, we were created in the 7th day. But on the 6th day, 5th day, 4th day, there were other universes being created before us, ahead of us. It wasn't that the stage was created and then we came in. No, as the stage was created, so were other beings here. Now, that explains why there's a hierarchy of life forms that are advanced and others that are not. It makes sense, because if we were all created at the same time, there should not be a gradient of hierarchy of beings. Why is there a hierarchy of beings that are greater beings and lesser beings? It's because they were being created simultaneously as the Big Bang was emerging. Okay? It wasn't that it was a tail end and then everything was created. Everything was in the process of being created simultaneously as the Big Bang emerged throughout the cosmos in the trillions of years, or if you want to use billions of years. With math, there's a lot of relativity. But this explains why there are other beings much more advanced than us and why there are other beings much less advanced than us. Because they were created far before we were. We were just the next in line. And the number seems to be the corresponding number of number 7. And that is the mathematical constants for our particular solar system, not for all of the cosmos. There's another number for that, a constants number for that. Okay? So this now gives a lot of clarity as to how the cosmos was created. And it was created with many life forms being created that maybe they were very primitive in the first day, but by the 7th day when we were created, they became more advanced. And we were young. By the time of the Vulcan period or the Jupiter period, which is in the millions of the years to come, still the Big Bang following its trajectory, there'll be other worlds to create and to populate. Okay? And it is infinite. This is why when you look into space in telescope and you see that the universe is expanding and stretching, it is because the Big Bang is still going on. Just like the radiation of the original Big Bang can still be felt in space to this day, and it's called the Hawking radiation. So we are still vibrating the energy of the Big Bang. It is still with us, alive and well. Okay, guys? And that is the first book of Enoch revelation that I have to give you. I will come back and talk about the Chronicles of Mars, part 5 of 7. Right? And then we're finally going to talk about Saturn in Sagittarius. I didn't forget about that. Now, everything I've been through. Thank God I'm back to normal. Guys, donate your tithes, give your tithes. And of course, if you want a reading, I have no one to read, no birth charts to do. I am completely free for birth charts and reading. I finally caught up. It took some doing, but I did it. And I thank you guys for it. All right. I will be back in a minute to begin the Chronicles of Mars, part 5 of 7. Okay, guys, thank you. Please donate and give your tithes, and please give. I gotta do that. I gotta do that. Guys, I'll talk to you later.